My name's Tanmay. I'd like to thank TEDxOlympiaHighSchool for having me here today. I have an idea I'd like to share with you. It's a simple way to analyze information, like election ads. Every election, my parents go nuts. They pore over everything, the voter's guide, the websites, the statements, everything. And I was reluctantly dragged into it. But then I began to see that elections are pretty cool. But the problem is, when I read the mail or turn on the TV, this is how I feel. Everyone's trying to tell you what to do and how to think. How do I know what to believe? I needed a simple way to make sense of all this chaos. So I looked closer at these ads and realized their arguments weren't what they seemed. I found that there were some common points in all the ads, and this became my framework. My simple framework has 5 points: who, why, facts and sources, visual marketing, and logic. Let's take a closer look at these points. The who is pretty obvious. Who's presenting the argument? Is it an institution, a corporation, or an individual? You might have to look elsewhere for the who, as it may not be shown. The why is the motive, which is crucial. Is it for the greater good, their interest, or just profit? It can be tricky to find the why, as the motive may not always be apparent. Another important point is their facts and sources. What numbers or points are they sharing? From where? Facts are the pith of the argument, and if the source or the actual fact is wrong, the whole argument is wrong too. A deceiving point is visual marketing. It doesn't seem that important, but it is. Is it grabbing your attention? Is it influencing you? People are far more likely to pay attention to information that's appealing, while a dull, dense wall of text may lose out, even if it has something good to say. Now to a crucial point: logic. What the point is and whether it works. Are there errors in the logic? Correct inferences? These errors, called fallacies, may be hard to find, but we need to know what they are. Otherwise, the whole argument could be wrong, and we would arrive at false conclusions. There are many, many different types of logical fallacies. But when I looked at all the ads, I found some common ones. First, we have appeal to authority. An example is, my mom says that cell phones cause cancer, so we should not use our cell phones. This is only a fallacy when they're citing an illegitimate authority. My mom's not a medical professional. Is she a legitimate authority? Next, we have appeal to emotion. An example is, you must pass me on this test. Otherwise, you are being cruel. My parents will kick me out of the house. When making decisions, we shouldn't be swayed by emotion. Then, we have cherry picking. Take the statement, this study showed that 200 flu sufferers who drank juice every day recovered quickly, while leaving out the fact that the study had 20,000 subjects, the rest of whom didn't respond to the treatment. These kind of arguments only share the convenient information. Finally, we have slippery slope. An example is, if we ban single-use plastic utensils because they're bad for the environment, eventually people will ban all utensils, so we shouldn't ban plastic utensils. One event doesn't necessarily cause another. All of these fallacies crop up frequently in the ads I analyze. To test my idea, I chose ads from the Washington State 2018 midterm election, Initiative 1631 and 1634. Here's how the voter's guide describes them. 1631. This measure would charge pollution fees on sources of greenhouse gas pollutants and use the revenue to reduce pollution, promote clean energy, and address climate impacts under oversight of a public board. 1634 concerns taxation of certain items intended for human consumption, such as raw or processed foods or beverages. First, we have a mailer from the Yes on 1631 campaign. Who? Next to the logo, you see who's paying for the ad. Environmental groups. Why? Under 1631, they'd pay a fine polluters would pay when they don't reduce emissions, which is a charter for these groups. Their facts and sources? Well, they present a testimony showing how kids are affected by air pollution. However, the testimony proves what is fairly common knowledge. Their visual marketing is really good, as they've chosen powerful visuals to get their point across. The logo that represents the environment, the smiling doctor who seems trustworthy, and the sick child. Finally, their logic. The statement, "Please vote yes," for our kids, should be an example of appeal to emotion. But the testimony gives information, so the argument is still sound. Even the testimony itself is an example of appeal to authority, but the doctor is a legitimate authority. Next, we have a No on 1631 ad. Who's paying for this? Look up in the top left corner, and in tiny letters, you'll see the sponsors: oil companies and oil associations. Why would they be against 1631? Under 1631, they'd pay a fine if they polluted, which would mean a reduction of profits for them. But where are they getting this information from? I figured out they used a NARA report that they funded, which made faulty assumptions about the cost of renewables, the price of reducing emissions, and the increasing demand for oil. It comes to the conclusion that oil and gas prices will increase. Visual marketing? Well, the house is stacked upon a pile of dollar bills, which creates a scary image of growing energy prices. What about their logic? It's pretty faulty. They're appealing to fear, which is a subset of appeal to emotion. If you don't vote no, you'll pay more. Also, the NARA report's faulty assumptions lead to a slippery slope argument that oil and gas prices will increase continuously. Another small point worth noting is that they imply the term energy is just gas and oil, which is completely discounting renewables. Moving on to 1634, we have a Yes on 1634 ad. Who's paying for this? Notice the fine print: soda companies and food associations. Why would they be against 1634? Excuse me. Under 1634, they want to make sure their products aren't taxed. Well, their facts and sources? Well, they have listed their source as the Office of the Attorney General, or OAG's, corrected statement for 1634. That same document also says that historically, food has been exempt from taxes, so they aren't coming after your carrot. Their visual marketing, it's pretty direct. The picture of the family happily shopping for groceries reinforces the idea that they don't fear taxes on their food. What about their logic? Well, they commit a whopping 3 fallacies. They cherry-pick facts from the OAG's document to create a slippery slope argument about taxing all groceries, and they scare people into voting yes. Finally, we have a screenshot taken from the Washington Healthy Kids Coalition website for why you should vote no on 1634. Who are they? Well, they're a coalition of groups that are focused on children's health. Why? According to them, sugary drinks cause obesity, so they should be taxed. Their facts and sources? Well, they have listed their source, and it is true. They are quoting the exact text about 1634 from the voter's guide. Their visual marketing? Well, it's just a big wall of words. Will people pay attention to it? What about their logic? It's a hasty generalization. Just because one special interest spends millions to mislead, will others do so too? Otherwise, they have a consistent argument against 1634. The election results were announced. 1631 didn't pass by a margin of around 13%, while 1634 passed by a margin of around 11.5%. So now I ask you, Do you think the voters made informed decisions? I'm no longer overwhelmed by all this information. My framework helps me parse this clearly. Just 5 points. Who, why, facts and sources, visual marketing, and logic. It's so simple and so versatile. I can use it to analyze everything from commercials to opinion articles to fake news. And so can all of you. With this framework, we can all be informed citizens. Thank you.